to the Super Bowl edition of the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show. I just wanted to say that because I never thought I would. And as I tell people, Joe and Ty, I was expecting to live to be 100 too and wasn't expecting to see this. But I want to remind you that we are powered by, here at the Grueling Truth, betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you go check out betting.net. All right, we're going to go ahead and welcome in our other host. First up, Ty Robbins. How you doing, Ty?
What's up, Bengal Nation? Excited, man. I never thought I'd see this day. I was down at I went to Kansas City and I ran into Joe. They got a little picture with Joe. You could tell the Bengal fan versus the NFL player because Joe was like, I got to leave. Ty, I got to go down with Icky. We're gonna go down the field, and I go. I got to leave too, Joe, because I got to go up to the nosebleed. You might see me. I'm the second seat from the top, baby. I'm the closest to God you're ever gonna get.
Yeah, that's the difference between being a high school wrestling coach and playing
That's true.
Super Bowl 23 too, though.
That is true.
So, what the hell? All right, then next up, of course, former Cincinnati Bengal, still a Cincinnati. Once you're a Bengal, you're always a Bengal. Unless maybe you played in the 90s. I don't know if those guys want to claim it. Help me welcome to the show, Joe Kelly. How you doing, Joe?
Oh man, it is as good a week as it can be. Been 32 years since I've had this feeling, man. And like Ty said, got down to Kansas City and Arrowhead, just Arrowhead Stadium. How good that team has been the last couple of years. The experience of playing in Arrowhead. This was actually my first time ever at Riverhead as a fan. So just going out and seeing. Definitely one thing that I learned in Kansas City is I have to step up my tailgate game. Their tailgates were there. They had living rooms. They
got that barbecue too, though.
Oh my God, it was crazy, man. But going out there, man, coming out there and just seeing a sea of black and orange, and unfortunately, I finally seen Ty after umpteen years at a game, but it took an hour to park. So here I was there, man. I got there, and me and Ty, we met up at Bengal Jim's thing, and as soon as I was getting ready I had some whiskey and some beer, and Icky's like, man, we gotta go. I'm like, dude, I've been here 30 seconds, and we had to go. So I couldn't complain, man, because I was headed to the field, man. So it was, man, it was awesome feeling. Awesome day. These guys, they battled their butts off, man. And, guess what, Mike, man, we are headed to the Super Bowl, baby.
The thing that was weird here, Joe, is I've spent the last, probably especially since the Jeremy Hill fumble, watching Bengal games, waiting for something bad to happen. Even though they were down 21-3, I'm watching the highlights today, and I look at my son, I said, it never felt like we were down that far. And the other thing was the dropped interception by Eli Apple. I immediately thought about Lewis Billups. And they started talking about Lewis Billups. And then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, wait, this is different. And then the next play, you get an interception. And, I mean, what Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor have brought. And, I mean, I all three of us were kind of down on Zach a little bit over the last couple of years.
Some more than others. That's all.
Oh, it was me. I hated him because it was true. He was terrible. I mean, that's everybody gives me crap about you're wrong. I'm glad I was wrong. But I can tell you this, too. He didn't coach like this the last 2 years. What we saw in the two Kansas City games, everybody wants to give all the credit to Joe Burrow and everything. This was a defense that adjusted in the second half. What I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're watching on TV, you can't see all 22. But it looked like to me the Bengals came out playing cover 2, and they played soft. And then it looked like the switch was they started to man Tyreek Hill, and they started to take safety. I think it was Trey Flowers a lot of times, where they would take him and or Jesse Bates and stick him as a rover and actually take that crosser out of the middle of the field. Because Tyreek Hill dominated them in the first half. Second half, he caught nothing. And the other thing that struck me just from watching the game on TV is Patrick Mahomes looked like he kind of fell apart. Hold on. We got a special guest here, Joe. You might know.
Yeah.
number 33 in your hearts, you know. And this is the thing: Trey Flowers has now played so good that when he makes a tackle, I don't look at my son and say, "I keep thinking that's David Fulcher." How you doing, David?
What up, West Side? What up, man?
What's up? What's up, Faux Rock?
So the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl, Dave. Do you ever think you'd see that again?
Can you hear?
Hey,
Can you hear us?
me tell you something, man. He's a little light in the you don't look like the big dog, but I'm doing good, man. I apologize.
Got a bad.
Yeah, we get a bad
I'm
connection on your
actually,
sound.
Just moved late, but I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
now.
we can hear you a
Let's
little
see.
bit better
Can you
now. It was cutting out before.
Yeah, we got you. Now.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
But all right, so what we were talking
Better?
about, the thing that struck me was, to me, as the Bengals got back in this game in the second half, Joe, it almost looked like Patrick Mahomes got tight as hell. Can you hear us, David?
Your sound is out. Your sound is going in and out, Dave.
All right, I'm trying to figure out.
Go
man.
ahead, Joe. Just talk about that. There we go.
Yeah, so when you look at it, here we talk about some similarities to the game. So being there, so you said, hey, well, when Eli dropped the interception, man, maybe it's just like Billups dropping. So I was there, and Huzama got his first quarter, and I turned around, looked at my wife, and I was like, oh my God, this is crummy.
So
Crummy got hurt in first quarter right away, and in my opinion, Huzama
let me see if I can get a better
the heart and soul of.
connection. Is that better?
But like you said, when we were down 21-3, we got that big stop at halftime. Man, I don't know. I doubt if they showed it on TV, but you could see our players running off the field, pumping their fists. We made a stop, we got it, and Kansas City was. I know it's arrogance, but at some point you say we're going,
and I'm trying.
And that's what they did. They went for it. We stopped them. They came out. Of course, their fans were expecting them to come out right in the third quarter, and they had the ball, and our guys, like you
Can
said,
you hear us, Dave? There we go. Keep going, Joe.
An adjustment. Like you said, we had the rover, and another one of the biggest things, Mike, in the first half, our defensive ends were trying to make plays underneath. They literally got tackled at least 5-6 times. But when they were trying to make plays underneath, you gave him the ability to scramble, go out the pocket, so on and so forth. So in that second half, you've seen our defensive end keeping sustained. And when he came out and he scrambled, boom, that rover, came rusting, made him rush, we got a stack. Our defensive line was extraordinary in that.
All right, David, can you hear us? I don't think David can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'll do you. Yeah, I can hear you now. That is actually better. Picture's a little rough, but we can hear you. So, what was your takeaway on the game?
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, you're all right. It happens. It happens all the time with Joe. Joe just figured it out tonight, and it's been 7 years.
21-3.
Good. What's your take on the game, Faux Rock?
But I will tell you this, man. This football team has they have no worry, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're going in and out. Your reception is going in and out. We can hear you. You're breaking out. You got to get to a better area, man. Go by the Wi-Fi box. Go sit next to the modem.
We're in trouble when Joe's giving.
I know, because Joe just did recently figure it out.
Yeah.
Basically,
All
that
right.
was when you say go to the modem, you're basically go find your wife. I got you, Joe.
Hey,
I
how
got
about
you,
this?
Sam.
Has there ever been a better trade made than Billy Price for B.J. Hill just because of that one play?
Oh man, you know what? It was. You know, you looked at it and you felt it. You know, I know Kansas City, but I'm telling you, at that point in time, I turned to my wife. I said, "Hey, we need a big play. We need a turnover right here. I think we're ready." Literally, I said that next play, he got the interception. You know, so there was no doubt in my mind after that. You know, it was going to happen. And I was confident it was going to happen. I knew we still had to stop him. It was going to happen, and you know, that's what we did. Our guys battled back. Defense played their butt off. You know, Joey did come out. He did make one bad throw, but defense came back and rebounded and got the ball right back. So you know, this is a team. You know, Ty, that is this the best talented team in Bengal history? Probably not, but we weren't either. You know, so when you look at that, I'll tell you what, this team battles and has battled just as good or better than any Bengal team ever. You know, are they deficient in some areas? Maybe so, but in that locker room, not in that locker room. They walk on the field. I don't care who's out there. You know that they walk out there, man, and they have the confidence that they can play and beat anybody.
Yeah, and you guys know exactly how that is, David, because that is what you guys had in 1988.
No fear. They have no fear whatsoever when they play. And when they step out on the football field, like Joe said, they're when they were down 21-3, you know, I believe there are a lot of people saying game's over. But you could see it in their face. You could see it in their step. It ain't over. And that's how we were. And you said that. When we played in the 88 Super Bowl, all we thought about was how do we play 4 quarters? How can we be the best defensive team in the NFL in these playoffs? And what that team is doing, man, they're making people believers. Them kids, they don't know nothing, man. They don't know what they really need to know.
Yeah,
And when you don't know
That's good
nothing,
sometimes.
you
well,
know,
that's great.
and when you don't know nothing, you know what happens? You just go out and play. And when
Yeah.
Joe and I, when we played, we didn't play with the fear of making a mistake. We had no fear. We just went out there and played the game. And oops, I'm sorry, man, I hit you hard. That's what happens. And we keep doing what we're doing. So let me tell you, this football team is playing well, man. And I'm telling you what, they're pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, Joe already alluded to it. I think the key to the game, Ty, was the end of the first half. And I think that with Andy Reid, it was more of arrogance because, you know, he likes to do all this crap down at the goal line to show everybody how much bigger his brain is than everybody else's. It bit him in the ass there.
I
Oh,
felt
no
like
doubt.
they were, I felt like they were greedy, right?
Yeah.
They wanted they wanted it all. They were going to. They felt cocky. They're in their atmosphere. They're in their stadium. They just proved last week that they can win big games, and they felt like they were going to do this. I think they underestimated these Bengal defense that has stepped up time and time again. Especially the bigger the game, you know, the players are going to step up, and you saw that. You saw, you know. The fans were like, oh man, they didn't get any points out of that, you know. And then when they went to the locker room, and I had a conversation with one of the Chiefs fans. I told him, I said, hey, I'm just letting you know, statistically, the Bengals have huge third quarter. You know, that's where they score most of
If
the
he's
points.
a Chiefs fan, he should have known from 3 weeks before.
Right. He kind of shrugged, you know, he kind of like, that's never going to happen. Sure enough, you know, the Chiefs came out, we stopped them, and then Burrow goes to work, you know, with these guys, and then they came back and they proved that, hey, this wasn't a fluke. You know, no one ever guessed, even the national, you know, analysts believed that we would hold them to 3 points like we did the first time, and they just didn't believe it. But the Bengals did. So I enjoyed every second of a fan.
Well,
And I just want to
go ahead, Ty.
I just want to say, you know, I'm on here not as a coach or a player. I'm on here as a fan. I'm a true Bengal fan, and it's an honor to be on with you guys, right? To talk. I talked to Joe. We've talked for the last 3 or 4 years when we've done this podcast. But David, this is an honor because I love watching you play. I mean, you were like a linebacker at safety, just drilling people.
He
So
was
I was a little bit bigger than that guy, number 58, man. He was in front of me and he was smaller, but he would hit you like a freight train.
I'd love
Patrick
to see both of you.
Mahomes said it on his press conference after the game. He said the standard that Kansas City has, it didn't rise to the occasion. They believe that they can do anything on the football field. And I believe that's what happened right before the half. That they believed that they were going to go in there and score. They didn't think they were going to lose the football game up 21-3. But you said it. This is a different football. And they believe, and I'm telling you, man, they're going to game and they are going to do what they need to do to beat them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, another thing that Ty alluded to is how well this defense plays when it needs to. In 1988, everybody gave the offense all the accolades, but in the playoffs, you hold Seattle to 13 points, which one of those touchdowns was cheap at the end of the game, and then you go play the Buffalo Bills, who the next year would invent the no-huddle offense, and you held them to 10 points. And then in the Super Bowl, you held Joe Montana to 20. And I think that the defense really gets overlooked here, guys, just kind of like you guys did.
Yeah, no doubt. I believe that it has been an offensive showing in football, but defense win ball games. And that's what this defense is doing. So, yeah, the Bengals aren't going to get too much in the newspapers about how good the defense is because it's Chase and it's Burrow and it's Higgins and it's those guys on offense. But don't forget, man, if you don't let people score, you got a chance to win, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think, piggyback on what Rock said, we look at, of course, we had Anthony Munoz, Hall of Famer. We had a great offensive line, Boomer, Ickey, James Brooks. Here, there's a couple, we had, our defensive back, the SWAT team. But nobody really talked as much as about our defense as a whole. But if you look, once the playoffs started, when we got on that run, even beating Washington Redskins at that time, that last game when the kicker missed the
Chip Lohmiller missed a 29-yard field goal.
Yeah. So it was meant, but the defense, we went and going into that game, Sam wanted to announce the defense and come out because at the end of the day, that's who was going to win the game. And of course, the greatest receiver in history, it was Jerry Rice. He made plays, but at the end of the day, like Rock said, it's about keeping them out of the end zone. So you're saying here, man, for 4 quarters in 14 minutes, we held them to 13 points. That's what happened. You're talking about Joe Montana. So, it was a play here, play there, I would never say that because Lewis dropped the ball that's why we lost. We had,
should have ran the damn ball more, Joe.
there's a lot of things, but you losing Tim Crumry, in the first quarter, even though.
But David Grant played his ass off.
Yes, he did, David. Yes, he did.
So at the end of the day, it is what it is. But even that time, even going down that last drive, still, we still felt that we were going to win. And that's the similarities. With this team, they believe. Just like Dave, you look at this flag, the way they walk. Joey B. You look at him. These guys are babies. But when you're talking about here, when Fulcher said here, they don't know what they don't know. My rookie year, Dick Schelser always told me, "Hey, you don't know what you don't know," and I'm looking at him like that's what is he talking about? Because. And then as you grow and learn and you get the experience, you realize all the things that you know now that you didn't know then. You thought you knew everything, and that's where this team is. They're young, they're not afraid, they're unabashful. There's why am I going to fear this team? We're going into Kansas City. We don't fear Kansas City. We think we can beat these guys. We got some momentum coming out of the second half. We stopped them. in Cincinnati, and these guys came back in Kansas City with the decibel level as loud as I've ever been, besides the Kingdom probably. And they battled back, man. And you know, at the end of the day, you see what happened.
All right, we got a question from Joseph Michael who says, serious question for Joe and Dave. Joe, Ty, does that mean we're usually not serious? How long after your AFC championship did you realize, okay, this is real? Because as a fan, I still can't believe the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
You know, it didn't take long. It didn't take long for us to understand it because we actually thought it was real when both Joe and I, who were high school rivals, then we go college rivals, and then we start playing together. So we knew it was real then. But to be in the Super Bowl in '88, it took a lot of pinching. Somebody pinching you and slapping you in the face because it was real. We knew it was real. And then get out on that field against the 49ers. You know, I was at all. I was at all because we always saw Montana. We heard Jerry Rice. We heard Roger Craig. I even tried to shake Roger Craig's hand during warm-ups, and the dude wouldn't shake my hand. So I told him throughout that game he was going to see my hand, or not my hand, my helmet.
I believe he did see that in that game too, David.
I caused him to fumble, and I told him, I said, if you just shook my damn hand, that may not have happened. But I think it was so real. It was real to the point where, you know, after the game was over, all we thought about was, how do we get back here? How can we come back? Because we worked our butts off to get there, and we didn't finish what we needed to finish. That's the same thing that Jim Anderson used to say to us, finish everything, and we didn't finish. And believe me, we wanted to get back, and it's great to see this football team get back there, man, and they need to bring one home, which I think they're going to bring one home for us after that Super Bowl game is played.
Well, and I think this, I'll direct this to Ty. As a fan, do you still believe this? And I think 1988, it was a little different because at the time, you know, I was at Indiana State going to college, and 7 years before that, I saw the Bengals go to the Super Bowl. So I think the big thing of nobody being able to believe it, especially as people that lived through the 1990s, Ty.
I spent a lot of time in Nashville and Kansas City with the fans. We were tailgating, and every fan was just so excited. Like this is a different team. In the last, I'd say, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, they always felt like the Bengals would find a way somehow, something, whether it's a ref or a drop or a fumble, or they always find a way to lose it. And this team's different. They got the it factor. And I hear a lot of fans say they have the it factor besides Burrow. You know, like you say, the defense wins championships. And these defensive players have really come up with when you look at from the Raiders to Nashville to even, you know, Kansas City, they've stepped up. You know, your quarterback's going to go out and he's going to do his thing, but this defense is something different. You know, and I'll tell you what I really like, that Lou Amarillo, he came out and
come on, you got to say his name, Todd.
I have a trouble with Big Lou, man. He made adjustments, right? Instead of rushing 4, he went 3. He pulled Hubbard back and Trey back, and that really put, you know, the brakes on Mahomes, because he was like, his go-to people he couldn't get to, and they were putting a pass rush. You could see it when he was overthrowing the pass and he was running.
They made him look like he did in the Super Bowl last year against Tampa Bay.
Right, and I think that was the difference coming into the second half, that when they made the adjustments in the past, I don't think Bengals fans, they felt like the coaches made those adjustments. They did the same thing they did the first half and the second half.
Yeah, but you know what, Ty? I think a lot of times most fans don't have a clue what the hell an adjustment would look like, to tell you the truth.
But real fans,
they just don't. And the other thing is this: you can make all the adjustments in the world, but I know David's coached before. If you don't have the guys to get it done, you can adjust your ass off, and it's not going to matter because the other team's just got better players. I think the big difference here is Joe Burrow changed the culture of this team. I think he changed the culture of the front office. When they got him, they knew they had something. I mean, hell, you look right now, Brian Flores just said the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, offered him $100,000 for every game he lost to get Joe Burrow. I would say the only problem I have with that, Ross probably should have gave him $1 million a damn game, because the Miami Dolphins might be in the Super Bowl right now if they had him. And I think the other thing is, Joe, David, you guys had a kicker that if the game was on the line and he was kicking it, you knew he was making it. That makes a big difference. That gives you a lot more confidence as an offense and a defense, doesn't it?
You don't really see, or you don't really talk too much to kickers. Jimmy Breach was Mr. Automatic. Every time Jimmy stepped out on the field, we knew 3 points was on the board. And sometimes you take advantage of that because you got a guy like Jimmy who gets the ball up and down and makes those kicks. Kickers, sometimes the kicker's a dime a dozen. But this kicker right here, he ain't a dime a dozen. This guy is the real deal, and he loves the excitement. He loves the challenge. And when you got a guy like this that does what he does, it makes it easy for us because we know on defense, if we can stop him, we got a chance to put 3 on the board. And I've always thought about this. I've always thought that if you can match an offense for offense, score for score, you got a chance. If they don't score and you go get 3, you got a chance to win. And that's what this defense did in giving the Bengals an opportunity in that second half. Because this is back-to-back games where they only gave up 3 points in the second half. You talking about adjustments? Let me tell you something. When and Joe know what I'm talking about here. When you get a little tight and you can't do what you need to do, you'll see it. And Mahomes got tight, Kansas City got tight, and the Bengals were so loose. And them guys were just having fun, man. And when you have fun, these things happen. And we're all excited about what's going on.
You like Dave said, it's about going out there now. Now you see it, and not only you see it, you feel it. You feel it. You go out there and you look at how different each half was. The first half, played a little uptight. Because we were trying hard. The effort absolutely was there. But here we were allowing him. He was getting out the pocket, making plays. He was being the gunslinger he is. So you come back and we stopped them at half. You came back and you seen the second half. Okay, we had the rover. We dropping Sam Hubbard. Our DBs were coming up, making plays on the ball. So you look at it, and I think, Dave, you can, attest to it as well. A lot of times you go into a game as a defense and, you're the underdog. They are expected. Kansas City is expected to score 30 points on us. So you take that personally. 30 points? No, you ain't scoring. We're San Francisco. They were expected to score on us, even with Crumry. So here, we had arguably, the top 3 defensive backfield in the league. You see what I'm saying? We had arguably the best nose guard in the league. But still, everybody, they said here, you go into the game, we're underdog. And that's what this team is. You see, Tennessee, the mighty Titans, the mighty Derrick Henry. The mighty Derrick Henry was going to come on and rush for 200 yards. No, he's not. Not today. Not today. Mahomes was going to throw for 400. And in the stands, Ty, I know you had to hear it because I heard it 1,000 times. Hey, brother, all we need is 13 seconds. All we need is 13 seconds. And I'm saying, brother, not today.
Not today.
Well, the best part is when they lose the toss in the overtime. And, the one good thing is this. If this Super Bowl would have been on Fox, I probably would have paid $10,000 to go just so I didn't have to listen to Tony Romo's dumbass. But, to listen to him say with a minute left, the Bengals should just give up the touchdown here so they can get the ball back with a minute left. He said that, Joe. I'm not kidding. You and Ty, you the big rollers up there paying the money to go. I had to watch and listen to Tony Romo, but he makes the comment of that. And then when they win the toss, you see Patrick Mahomes taking his jacket off, and Romo goes, there he goes, taking his cape off. Jesus. I'll tell you what, Tony, you would think Tony Romo was married to Patrick Mahomes the way he talks about him. It's almost as bad as John Madden and Brett Favre back in the day.
They wanted, let me tell you something. They wanted a Kansas City back in the Super Bowl
so
dearly. And they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because the no-names, the cardiac, the young kids said, no, not today. And Joe said it. You look back at our Super Bowl in 88. We had an offense that was averaging like 26, 27 points a game.
And they took it away from us.
We get into the Super Bowl and we don't score an offensive touchdown. If we score an offensive touchdown, we're Super Bowl champions.
Hey, but you weren't allowed to run the offense that scored you all those points during the year because they changed the rules because Marv Levy was friends with Don Shula, who was on the competition committee. Because I know I interviewed Sam Weiss probably a couple months before he passed away. Great guy, too, because he came on the show like 5 times in like 2 weeks. And, you know, whenever you talk to him, the conversation would last for 2 hours. But that was the big thing. He said, you know, they complained about us. And then they took it, invented it, and went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, and nobody said anything about it. But from what I remember, 88 championship game, you couldn't use it either because Marv Levy was threatening to do what Chuck Knox did in the divisional playoff where Joe Nash got hurt like 19 times, and they were all on third down.
Yeah. That was a way they devised to stop our, you know, the no-huddle offense, man. You know, at the end of the day, it didn't work. You know, so you know it is what it is. You know that was their adjustment to our no huddle offense. But you know it's something that you know unfortunately I know I talked about us not being able to adjust in last year and the year before. You know, but I can tell you this. I honestly. There's no way that I can tell you at any time I said we were going to get to the Super Bowl because that would be a bold lie. But what I did say is that, hey, here in preseason, I said, hey, we have a defense. Hendrickson, Bates, our safety, Awuzie, Mike Hilton. You seen this. This was a different defense. This was a different defense. And these guys were making plays. These guys were a lot more physical. This is probably one of the most physical defenses the Bengals had in a long time. So there was fight. You see the fight, and it was just great. Running on the field after the game and being able to talk to some of the young fellas. Got down to be able to talk to.
You need that big bee necklace like Icky's got, Joe.
Oh, that's Icky's good luck. That's it.
No, that's all woods, man. We don't want one of them.
So how heavy is that? Is that hollow and he's really carrying nothing around, or?
I think that thing is light as a feather.
Yeah. But it was great to see those guys battle. But I think David can attest. Even being a fan, being a former player, man, it was everything that they did. You felt good, bad, here, and they overcame. It wasn't them, it was us. I think every player can tell you every moment of that game. It might have been, I might have not been on the field, but every play. I was there, I felt every emotion of that, and just love that those young fellas just went out there, man, and they battled and came back, in a tough stadium. It's tough to win in Arrowhead with that noise, and pretty much the entire game. Their fans are really great football fans because they know they were yelling at the top of their lungs, and when their offense came back on the field, you heard nothing. You didn't have to sit down and like we do in Cincinnati and like tell the stands, hey, no, offense on the field. Quiet. No, they were. Hey,
back in the '80s, the fans knew that too. So it's just the young guys that screwed us up.
It was great, man. I think all of us. I can speak for myself, and seeing some of our teammates, Mike Martin, and people on Facebook, and tears. I can tell you, I was screaming for joy, and had a couple of tears dropping because you just seen, here at the end of the day, we went. Fulcher and I, we also played on the Raiders, but and deep down in our heart, man, we're Bengals. We're
no doubt.
It's not
Bengals 24/7.
Them young guys are not going to the Super Bowl, baby. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're all going to the Super Bowl, and hopefully, they feel the love from the past Super Bowl team, and be able to look at. I hope Flowers understand and realize that 33 is on his back. That's some big shoes. That's some big shoes to fill, baby.
Hey, my son heard an hour dissertation about it 2 weeks ago when I said, man, every time I see him make a play, I think it's David Fulcher. But
No, you got to make a
Hell,
lot of
hell,
plays.
every time I see Mike Hilton make a play, I think it's James Brooks, and it doesn't make no damn sense because James Brooks played running back.
You know what I said? You know what? When I see this football team, no, I did not believe that the Cincinnati Bengals would go to the Super Bowl. But what I did believe as I watched them through preseason and what they have started to build was they're going to compete week in and week out. And when you can compete, anything can happen. But you start seeing confidence in competing. Even when they lost to the Jets. When they lost to the Jets, and that's a disappointing loss, but you didn't see a defeated team. You saw a team that was competing and said, "Oh, I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for next week."
Yeah, I
Joe
think
and
we
I,
can
when we
all
played,
agree it
when
doesn't
we played the
surprise
Oilers,
us.
when we used to
Go
play the
ahead.
Houston Oilers, we beat Houston really bad here in Cincinnati, and then we went to Houston 2 weeks later and got our butts kicked. And we got on the plane, and the first thing we said was, "Did that really happen? I mean, did that really just happen to us?" And I think the next week we must have went to Dallas, and I think we beat the crap out of Dallas. But you know what? It was because those defeats didn't defeat us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh hell, we lost him again. Can't hear you.
We can't hear you, fool.
Can you read his lips and translate, Joe?
It looks like you're saying something good though.
I know. We're missing it. We can't hear you.
Like he's going to town.
I know. This is good stuff, and we're missing it.
I know. He's like giving a speech in the locker room.
I know.
Yeah. That's the mighty Joe Young speech he's giving right now. Well, we can't hear you.
I just texted him. We couldn't hear him. So.
No. No. Yeah. Folks, I just missed probably one of the greatest speeches of all
The
time.
greatest speech.
Do you guys live close to each other? Maybe the next show we just have him come to your house and do it. And you can show him how to run everything.
Well, like you said, he just moved. He just moved. You know, Wi-Fi is probably having some issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this, hell, I would still rather talk about 1988 than any year. Or 1981. But and the thing about it is, you know, it's like as a Cincinnati Reds fan, I remember 75, 76. 90 was my favorite team because of the connection they had with the city. And I think the 81 and 88 Bengals both had that. This team has that too. My question to you, Joe, is, I mean, we all lived through 88, either as fans or players. What do you think the difference is here? Is this similar? Do you think it's more or a little bit less, or what do you think?
Well, I think this is the similarity. The similarity is that the previous year, 87, we sucked. It wasn't totally because we totally sucked. It was a strike year. So, you know, you
lost like 7 games by less than a touchdown.
So, you know, we came in, but even after that, when we came back after the strike, I think we were ahead in the fourth quarter of every game and wind up losing so many games. And then when we came back in that training camp, you know, it was something special. You know, it was special. Sam rooming an offensive player with a defensive player, rooming a white player with a black player. So it was about us, learning each other, knowing where we were from, each other from. You know, so Chris Collins and I were roommates. You know, so here's a black kid from South Central LA, and I'm rooming with a white skinny kid from, you know, Central Florida. You know, and we're talking, you know, and I'm learning. I'm looking at this white dude, and this white dude you won the 100-yard dash in Florida State. You know, so I even though they said he was fast, but you won the 100-yard dash in the state of Florida. You know, skinny lady.
Hell, they let him race a horse at Turfway Park, if you remember.
Yeah, you know, so it was about that. You know,
got his ass beat too.
the thing about that connection, when you listen to those guys talk, when you see Uzama leading the team in the Who They chant, when you see Joe Burrows talking after the game, Jamar taking after the chant after the game, you see a humbleness, but you see a togetherness. You feel a cohesion, and you know, the special thing is even now, 30 years later, all of us, most of us, so many of us stayed in Cincinnati. You know, we were a part of each other's lives off the field. Then we're a part of each other's off the field now. And I think that's what they have. They have that, you know, because that's not something that you can coach. Either you have it or you don't. You know, guys form relationships, you know, and those relationships, they mend, you know, and they gel, you know. So when you're looking, hey, if I'm down to play, you know, I'm looking, bam, here come Fo Rock making another play. You know, here, Reggie making another play. Let's go, Reggie, you got it. I'll make a play. You know, so it was that, you know, and you see that. You see them pulling each other up. You know, they could have easily folded. Kansas City down 21-3 in Arrowhead with the greatest Patrick Mahomes.
No, nobody would have thought twice about it either.
Yeah. So, you know, you go in there just like us. We went in there, and there was no doubt that 88 season we were going to get to the Super Bowl. You know, we felt it. We felt it. There was nobody. We looked at our schedule. There was nobody in the regular season. There was nobody in postseason that we didn't think that we could beat. We knew we could beat Seattle. We knew we could beat Buffalo. It don't matter what, you know, we knew, and we did. You know,
we had no fear. We had no fear.
Yeah.
We weren't scared of nobody. Somebody that we was actually scared of, if we were scared of somebody, was that offense that we practice against every day.
Yeah.
Because they were good. And I think that's where we came a good football team, because we practiced against the best. So we were ready and we were prepared week in and week out, because I got a guy like Anthony Munoz who stands up there and tells me he's not going to let me come touch his quarterback in practice. And he wouldn't let me touch his quarterback in practice. So when I got into a game, I'm playing against somebody that's not as good as Anthony Munoz, I'm going to touch your quarterback. I couldn't touch mine, but I'm going to touch yours. And it made it easy for us. That's why we were so good.
Come on, Ty, jump in.
Oh, I'm just amazed. I just like hearing the stories, man, to tell you the truth. It's, coaching for a long time, whether it's, wrestling or football, it is all about the locker room and the relationships, because you're going to go out and you're going to do it for your brother. You know what I mean? You're going to go out there and
don't you think, Ty, when they talk about that, the Sam Weiss locker room, Joe talked about it, black player with white player, 1981, Boris Gregg, no nonsense attitude. Zach Taylor's done something really good with this culture, because that culture is what keeps guys together for a long time. We didn't see that in the 90s. We didn't see it in the 2000s until Zach Taylor got here. Marvin Lewis did a great job with this team. They made the playoffs 7 times, but there was still never that feeling here. And I think it's very rare that a coach can bring a culture like that, especially nowadays.
Yeah, it took some time to develop. He brought in people of character. They were all captains of their teams. Remember those first draft? They were bringing guys in. And then, you have people like Quentin Spain come in, and he got the offensive linemen together. He said, on Thursday nights, we're going to go out and we're going to eat. And he goes, I can't believe they didn't have that there. And when you bring older guys in that have been around and you bring them in with these younger guys and teach them the way, I think that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does. Like we said, it always, and that's the uniqueness. Because anybody, you get to the Super Bowl, there's something special about your team. Either you are just that good, or there's something special. Were we good? Absolutely. Were there something special? Yes. We had something special. We had here the SWAT team. These are things you can't be the SWAT team if you suck. You see what I'm saying? You can't. You can,
but nobody will buy the poster, Joe.
Yeah, no, anybody's selling posters.
I got the poster in my garage too, Dave. David, I got the poster.
We're not special.
I got the poster in my garage too, David.
Yeah.
Oh, I still have mine, man. Every now and then I take a look at it and go, man, what a great secondary. And we just made plays.
Yeah.
Our defense made plays.
Yeah.
Our offense was going to do what they do. We used to come to the sideline after a 3-and-out, or we come off the field, and LeBeau would always want to come and say something to us. I used to say, hurry up, coach. I want to see the offense play. I don't want to hear this. I want to watch the offensive play. So, yeah, that's where you got it. When you can sit back and say, hey, coach, and you talk about Zach Taylor. Let me tell you something, man. A couple of years ago when he got here and did what he did, so many people wanted to hang him and get him out of here. Did we got the right guy? Let me tell you
Mike,
something. He is
his
raw.
name is Goodpaster.
Yeah, that was me. But Joe, I remember you bitching vehemently too. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Last year.
Ty was the one that always bought in.
Yeah.
I took a lot of crap, Dave. That's all I'm saying from these.
Actually,
two.
Ty, we have all these shows recorded. You know that, right?
Hey, winning changes people's attitudes.
Yeah.
Changes the thought process. This football team is winning, and you know what? Nobody wants to say anything about it. So trust me, they're doing a great job, and people are running with it, and we're having a good time.
Yeah, I'm not running with it. I'm telling you that I think that we've seen tremendous progress from last year to this year, just with the adjustments. I think it also helped getting Jim Turner's ass out of here, because I think it's hard to have a good culture with Jim Turner in the building.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, you look at,
And actually, most of my issues, Joe, with Zach Taylor were the fact that he hired Jim Turner.
Yeah, there were. That's true. Like you said, but you look at the special connection that Jamar and Joe Burrow have. But you see, Hendrickson, you see what he brought to the table. You see, all these guys. You see Hubbard. You see, Bates leading the secondary. You see what the corners have. What they've contributed. And I think they are so tight. So you look at our defensive backs. Let's take a look at our defensive backs. And you have now healthy Trey Waynes, who they dumped 40-something million into. He's healthy, but there's times where you say, hey, I can't break that up. Those guys are playing too well to come in and put this guys, because if you put him in, that means these guys that have been making these plays and got you here, one of them has to sit, and that can destroy the cohesion of things. You gotta ride with what's working. You want the players to feel confident. Everybody's going in, and because if somebody gets benched, you're gonna talk. That's gonna be gossip in the locker room. I think that's BS. That whatever it is, that's why you can say here, this guy that you paid all that money cannot get on the field with how well these other guys are playing. So that's attributed to the defensive coordinator making that decision, the defensive coordinator making adjustments at halftime, because last year, the year before, you couldn't have paid them enough to make an adjustment. It got worse in the second half. But at some point, as a man, as a player, as a coach, you have to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's see what we can do. Let's put this thing together, and then let's ride this wave. And that wave started off, it was a little bitty 2-3 inch wave. Now, hey, it's a wave from Hawaii now, man. They're riding a tornado type wave right now, man. It's at the end of the day, just like we were saying last week, it's 4 quarters. 4 quarters to the Super Bowl. Now there's 4 quarters, baby, to being a Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, you're correct.
36 seconds, 34
Now,
seconds.
David, Joe didn't talk this much when he was younger, did he?
Oh, no. Let me tell you, man. Joe Kelly didn't set up at all. Even on the football field when I played against him, he didn't know how to stop talking. This is the normal Joe. You know what? I don't even know if he had a drink or not. Because if he had a drink, he definitely ain't gonna stop talking.
Yeah, me and Bengal Jim had a conversation about that in an incident in Tennessee where Joe got up and spoke. But go ahead.
Yeah,
there was some bad words said, Joe.
I missed that, Joe. I'm sorry, I missed that. I was in Nashville and I did. Sorry, I missed that conversation. Yeah. Hey guys, don't forget too Trey Flowers and his role. Leaving Seattle, coming here, he could have had that big head like, hey, I started there. He knew what his role was. And when it comes to tight ends, and he's seen some good ones.
It's nice to have a guy that's 6'3", 200-some pounds that can cover the tight end.
Right. That's made a difference, too, on this defense.
Yeah, Flowers, I will tell you this here. At sometime during this season, he seemed a little bit confused with some of the stuff that was going on, but he seems to getting it down now. And I think that's a contribution of the other players that are back there playing with him. There's a lot of times you can see him looking around, looking for some help or some kind of adjustment or some kind of word, but he is starting to stick his nose in there and make things happen. And I'm going to tell you something. When you start playing and contributing to your defense, you're going to be called on a lot. And right now, Flowers is getting it done, man. And a guy that's the height wise, he can match up with some pretty good guys, man. But he's playing good football, and I think I'm telling you, man, this is exciting. I mean, sometimes you get.
I think this, David. I think
this is it.
The big difference here is everybody talks about how young this team is, but Von Bell's played in some big games before, and to have Von Bell back there, Jesse Bates, who the Bengals should probably give a new contract right now before we get their new salary cap, but Von Bell, I think, has been kind of overlooked on the way he's contributed to this defense.
Yeah, Von is definitely Von is, he's that guy. He's the Fulcher. He's the Fulcher of that team. He's coming up. And this guy is making plays against the run. This guy is making plays, against the pass. He's getting interceptions. Hey, he's a lot of those times he's the last player. You see a couple times, even last week. If he doesn't make that tackle, that's not a 4-yard run. That's a 50-yard run. So he's coming in, and a lot of times you don't see that. I kind of sometimes they get too involved in looking at what the linebackers are doing. Then I see the linebackers falling down too high, and then here comes Von Bell making them play. And then you look at it like, wow, man, nobody was behind this dude. So if this dude didn't make the tackle, it's a touchdown. That's one guy. So you look at, man, and he doesn't get a lot as much accolades as Bates does. But in my opinion, this dude is the Fulcher, of that defense. This dude is making plays, against the pass. This dude is making plays against the run. This dude is blitzing. This dude is doing all that. Is Patrick Bates, has he been a leader? Yes, but Von Bell, in my opinion, is the heart and soul of that defense because they ask him to do everything. They ask him to blitz. They ask him to cover. They ask him to play deep third. They ask him to come up and come up in that box and play linebacker. And he doesn't get all the accolades, but he changed the attitude as far as of that defense. And you can see Icky and I were on the field before the game, and he was so zeroed in. We're literally, I put my hand out, touch shoulder pads, and Ick say, hey, what's up? Hey, Von, let's go. Ick Woods. And like I'm saying, we're at arm's length. This dude didn't even bat an eye. He was so zeroed, and I felt every energy coming. I had my hair on my arms raising up because I'm saying I know that feeling. Man. He is so focused and ready to go. This dude's about to have a good game, and he had a good game, and he was able to contribute and help his team, lead him back, man, and the victory. You see what happened.
All right, Ty, you got anything you want to ask or any comments you want to make before we wrap it up?
The only thing I want to talk about from a fan's perspective is the fans at Kansas City were gracious. They were really good, even before the game, after the game. I don't know if it's that Midwest lifestyle, but everybody was nice. The only problem I had, and I was disappointed in the Chiefs organization because I thought it was piss poor at the end. And I understand you're upset. Your team lost. You thought you were going. This team of young guys come in and beat you. But they turned off the jumbotrons and they set up all the Bengals fans stayed, and there was a lot of us. We stayed. We came down. They put out the ceremonial thing. They give out the trophy, but they didn't even turn on the PA system. So fans that weren't facing them, we couldn't hear. Like, do you know how long we waited for this? Since these guys played, we've waited for this, and people are up in the stands and they're crying and tears. Grown men, tears are coming out because they're excited. And then the Chiefs don't even turn on the PA. So we couldn't tell, were they get the trophy? Did they not get the trophy? Are they done? We see people walk out. And I thought that was piss poor as an organization because they could have done that for us.
You know,
Right.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, the Kansas City Chiefs did not expect to lose that football game. That the city
Neither
of
did the
Kansas City
Titans.
or the state, they did not expect that place to erupt the way it erupted for the Cincinnati Bengals. They were embarrassed.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to the Super Bowl
Hey David,
because
the best part about watching that game was towards the end of the fourth quarter when you hear everybody chanting "Who Day" in their stadium.
Oh yeah, we were loud. I'm gonna tell you, we were loud from the top to the bottom.
Yes, you could hear who they over everything because they did that. You know, welcome to the brave. You know,
What, Joe?
yeah,
I
but
thought the tomahawk chop was not allowed anymore.
yeah, no, not toward the end of the game. It wasn't.
I thought it was culturally insensitive.
You heard nothing but who they. You heard nothing but who they, man, and you
Well,
know
that was me from the top of the stadium.
Only God heard Ty was sitting so high up in the stadium.
I
I was getting a suntan. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I heard you, man. So you know, it was great being there. It was great, you know, being a part of it. You know, I'm glad I did travel, you know, to it because just the experience of actually being down there, man, and being able to just really feel what I mean. It brought every emotion from '88 and when we beat Buffalo. You know, going into the championship. I think I was one of the last ones in the locker room because I think I did jump in the stand. I believe I recall me jumping in the stands. I knew I was one of the last ones, you know, in there, you know, but it was just, you know, it was pandemonium, man. But just being able to, you know, enjoy that, man, and being happy for those guys that, you know, everybody counted out. And to be standing there right here, right now, man, with two teams. There's not a dominant team, just like you know, it wasn't, you know, a dominant team back then. You know, any team could have won. I still wholeheartedly think that, you know, we would have beat 49ers 9 out of 10 times. You know, it just was that time, and they you know, things happened that shouldn't have
It's that
happened.
damn Joe Montana, Joe.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, Joe Montana, you still, you know,
Hell, 81, we should have beat him 9 out of 10 times. We turned
Yeah,
them all over
yeah.
5 times there, won, and lose by 6 or 5 points. Hey, and Joseph Michael adds on, they took his son's plastic helmet.
Yeah. So, you
Those
know,
bastards.
I think I definitely think that this team.
Hey, we took their Lamar Hunt trophy, though, so that evens it out.
Yeah. This team could be the first team, man. In my opinion, they could actually go down there and you know, beat the Rams. I think if we can, you know, keep them less dominant than what the Tennessee Titans defensive line is. You know, they're about to face the best defensive lineman they've ever faced in their life. So as a man, you know, you have to answer the bell.
Yeah, but Joe, I think this, as an entire 4-man line, I think the Titans' defensive line might be better than the Rams. They don't have Aaron Donald, but
no doubt. To me, people can say what they want, and you know what Tennessee did. Man, Tennessee has a good damn team. Tennessee had, in my opinion, one of the best defenses in the league.
yeah, they just have an inconsistent quarterback. You never know what you're going to get.
They had Tannehill.
Yeah.
Okay, and they had a good year, but it's Tannehill. You know, if you put anybody else on that team, I think. But you know, I mean, here the Rams, you got 99 and you got Von Miller. You know, the other guy's not too shabby, but you know, you have two dominant guys. But at the end of the day, you know, we're here. We're gonna show up. We got 60 minutes. They got 60 minutes.
that's it.
Hey, we haven't been able to block anybody all year, and we're still in the Super Bowl. So there you go.
Yeah.
Can you just
Actually,
imagine
though,
if we start blocking people?
Hey,
How
actually,
good
though,
we
the
really
offense,
can be?
the offensive line played one of their better games against Kansas City. I mean, they only gave up 1 sack. He had a few pressures, but they weren't pressures where everybody fell apart. So there was a way to escape and get out, if you know what I mean. So they did play better.
Absolutely.
But it wouldn't have taken much, especially after the week before. All right, David, it was great having you on the show as always. Always an honor to have you on, as Ty said. And I guess David's not even going to say bye, Joe. That was
He probably he's in that he just moved, you know, so his Wi-Fi sucks.
the boy says that was good. That game was good, whoever that is. But thanks for the comment. Yeah, I still remember '88 being a little bit crazier than this, Joe. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? But you know the difference is because we were at home. You know,
Hey, were the Arrowhead fans as loud as the Jungle in 1988?
Arrowhead was pretty loud. Arrowhead was pretty loud.
Hey, Joe, here's the thing that was crazy about the Arrowhead. Their fans are really loud, but for a stadium that's won championships and been to the Super Bowl, their PA system was garbage.
Oh yeah.
Like they had one speaker at one end of the field and you couldn't hear it. It's like, and I'm like, what did he say? You couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. I mean, the Star Spangled Banner, out, you know, it was muffled. You couldn't hear her. Her mic was going in and out. You know, so they definitely need to upgrade their sound system.
Certainly at the PA.
The nostalgia of going to a game in Arrowhead Stadium, you know, being a play in Arrowhead Stadium.
I prefer Riverfront Stadium with that beautiful turf, Joe.
Oh wow. That sucked.
Hey, at least in '88 they had changed the turf, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad. It still sucked, but
So,
all right.
It was a good thing. It was a great time. I think every Bengal fan, you know, had an awesome time. You know, in Kansas City. Like I said, the people of Kansas City were, you know, they were hospitable.
Joe, can't hear you.
We were doing so well.
I know.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Joe doesn't need his wife. He's
Okay,
got
I can't
this.
hear you guys either. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, jeez. All right, go ahead.
Now
Finish
I'm
with
like
your final
Phil
thought.
Rock.
And David texted me and
Oh,
said his
Lord,
internet
really?
connection sucked and he was tired of it. So, can you hear us, Joe? Can you hear us, Joe? Joe done unplugged something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We can hear you. I can hear
Okay,
you.
I if you guys can hear me, I definitely can't hear you.
Well, we can hear you. I need a can so I can show him. But I can hear you. We can hear you. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. Next Thursday, we'll have Bengal legend Reggie Williams on the show. We'll have a few more shows between then and there. I'm going to surprise Ty with a few guests.
Technical difficulties.
Can you hear us, Joe?
Won't be able to
All
fix
right.
that.
So we're going to wrap it up. Make sure you follow us at Grueling Truth. But for now, for Joe Kelly, Ty Robbins, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.